Constabulary Force says it has seized 459 illegal firearms since the start of the year. The Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness made the announcement at a constituency conference in South Central St. Catherine on Sunday.
As of today, we have seized 459 guns compared to last year when we seized 377. The government has made significant investment in improving the capabilities of our security forces and Jamaica Customs to find the illegal guns coming into the country.
In late May, the JCF made one of the largest single seizures of gun and ammunition in the country's history. The lawmen seized 233 firearms along with more than 40,000 rounds of ammunition. Dr. Holness is urging the criminals to surrender their illegal weapons and pursue meaningful, lawful employment.
I want to use this platform to say to anyone who is involved in gangs and criminal activity, change your ways. Find something else to do. If you were in it, figure out an exit plan. Transition out of it. Put on them things there. Bury the gun. Or better yet, turn it in.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. In the meantime, up to 6 a.m. this morning, 292 murders were recorded in the country. That's 231 fewer than the 523 murders recorded for the same period last year. Overall, major crimes are down by 20%. No, by 44%.
Murders are down by 44%.
Major crimes are down by 20%. Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Joining us to discuss further, the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon, Dave. Good afternoon,
Ricardo.
Ricardo.
Yes. Dr. Chang, these are the very latest statistics from your JCF, or do you have more?
No, it's the latest up to Sunday, which was yesterday. 459 firearms. They got a good batch, I think. No, on Sunday would not be that recording. I think they picked up 6 somewhere online, but it would have been. Sunday we take the report, and Sunday, today's report, I've got the murder number, not the firearms seized today.
And what are the murder numbers?
You just know, 44.1% behind last year, which is about 292, I think it is, compared to over near 500 last year. What is it? 292 to, yeah.
So based on the numbers so far this year, yes, it seems as if we could come in well under 800 this year.
That's where the numbers are heading now. It will be the first time in many, many years, but the numbers are going very well. We are now averaging under 50 for the last, except for, I think it is 60 in about March or April, but this year we're looking under 50 regular, about 3 months under 50, which is a remarkable achievement in the last 2 months and the month before that, February. The police is demonstrating an effective media disruption again, but more critically, the policy I've adopted is to target the key players in the gangs, which then evokes a different change in behavior. Okay, if we don't have the killer to go and shoot, then you have to change the approach. And now they'll look at some of the organizers, and it's really disrupting the violence of the gang significantly. This, of course, sometimes alluded by some that this is not a result of what we have done in terms of policy and programs. The fact is that the practice that the police have initiated in terms of community policing or proximity policing, as they call it in language, and having the numbers to respond effectively and to disrupt the gangs could not happen before because they did not have the numbers of police officers. We invested and recruited 6,000 officers, which led to a net increase of 4,000. We provided transportation and we provided better working conditions and better compensation, which have driven the trust of the police in what they're doing, and to believe that we are really committed to supporting them. In addition to that, the commanding officers from previous commissioner and listen to now Commissioner Blake to have certainly taken steps to promote men of talent. And we now have, this year alone, Commissioner Blake has promoted over 1,000 officers since he has become commissioner. So the view of promotion, that kind of scarce benefit and special and nepotism is out of the first. And the men having gotten tools to work with, into the legislative and physical resources, and their moral is good, and they're committed to dealing with the criminal elements on a very professional basis.
In terms of the trends so far, is it that this is a national picture, or there are some parishes that are still running on par with last year, or is it right across the board? All the police divisions are showing, on average, a significant reduction in the order of 44%.
It's a national trend. In fact, I checked today, but last week we only had 2 parishes out of 9, and they were the 2 of the traditional safe parishes. So the numbers were pretty minimal. I think we had an incident in Portland where 2 Haitians of the illegal immigrants had an incident, and one murdered one, the other one. His friend murdered the other one. So you have 2 over last year. And in St. Mary, we have 1 in excess of last year. So that's the number, and that's also a parish which has, I think, 112 murders. So they are not major crime centers. All the major crime centers and they are down, significantly down. Like St. James is about 65% below. Western is somewhere in the 50s below. Clarendon is way down. And South St. Andrew was the one giving some trouble, but they're still below. I think they were tying at once, they're just below what they were last year. And that's South St. Andrew, which is a tough case, involved not only policing, dealing with gang members, and some really chronic social problem in South St. Andrew, which we have to attack more aggressively.
Or is East Kingston?
East Kingston not doing bad. Let me see if I can give you numbers. East Kingston is currently...
We're talking with the National Security Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, on the latest crime figures. He says we're seeing a profile that suggests that it's not only some parishes seeing a significant reduction in murders, but generally across all the police divisions. In St. James, St. James has been known as one of the murder capitals of Jamaica. Murders there down over 65% over last year. Dr. Chang?
Yeah, East Kingston is not 60% down.
60? Wow.
Yeah. I think the numbers are... I think it's 19 compared to 6 something like it's significantly down. 64% down.
Okay.
That's East Kingston. So generally across, we are significantly down in all difficulties except South End, and we are just below the last year, but they have been working hard to keep it there. And you had a flare up in February, which is a result of a particular security incident which I'm aware of that caused a flare up in South St. Andrew that we took us a while to get in control of it.
Yeah.
But that's under control now, and we have a steady.
How are you?
A steady plan going forward.
How are you working to ensure that these reductions are sustainable, sir?
The critical issue I found was they maintain the numbers of police officers in training. So I've had a wider scope of training. Besides the basic training, we're training intelligence officers, we're training high potential investigative officers, and across the board, including drivers and in terms of defense driving. Across the board, we have initiated, and then of course you have the formation on the logistic formation under Deputy Commissioner Karina Powell, which provides the support for a number of things, including the technology development and the station management. So just maintaining our activity to ensure that we can take the entire police force and institution to a new level. Even where the campaign and political campaign is going on, we maintain that investment. So, currently the 2 major stations are being built. We have not pulled back on the capital investment. Samuda is being built, regional and air station being built at a cost of $2.5 billion. Spanish Town is proceeding at $2.2 billion, and other stations are going through procurement quite quickly. To ensure the police is confident that we're not going to invest and stop halfway. The Special Operations West, where we need far more police officers, and it's costing us a significant amount of rental in buildings that are not suitable. We are proceeding to get a Special Operations base, which had to redesign, and it will cost about $11 billion. All these are going through the public investment assessment board are going through successfully so they can have confidence in what we're doing. And critically, we have ensured that the commissioner remains in charge of operations, police operations. We don't interfere. We articulate our policy, inform me of his approach, and we have had no problem in proceeding along those. And I think the men feel empowered to carry out their job objectively and professionally.
Yes.
And I think we maintain that. Well, my objective is to ensure that it become a part of the institution, and I've said it to the senior officers over and over.
Yes.
If what we are doing now in terms of investment to maintain the level of policing support in infrastructure and technology, and at the same time the force in terms of numbers, and have the training programs to not only keep the skill level up with modern policing, but also to allow them to perform their duties professionally.
Yes.
We can ensure that we maintain what is happening.
It's
One writer spoke about trend. Agreed that you need more than 1 year to say this is not the new normal.
Yes.
In a social problem. Not we're not arguing that, but we have never said that. Otherwise, we have indicated from day one when we wanted to use strong measures that we're going to use strong legislative measures to provide more power to the police and to use the army on a wider supporting basis. But going forward, we expect to invest enough to take the police to a level where they can operate, they can carry out law enforcement effectively without having to depend on any further support except in a very minimal way. That MOCA and the DDF is on standby for support in emergencies and in some kind of intelligence work. But we're building the police force. We have gotten to that level now, and we expect the police now to, once we get to this level, to maintain the work they're doing, which would give us sustainability. And we think we have gotten it here. We just have to ensure we keep them at this level.
In the 2 minutes I have left, you're familiar with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Audrey Horton, yes?
Yeah.
In your home parish of St. James.
In the neck of the woods.
Yes.
He's an old boy of Holness as well.
Yes. I don't know if that does anything for him. But tell me, he said in the segment before you came on that he's sending home Marlene Malahoo Fort after 10 years. She hasn't done anything in the constituency. And that he is virtually home and dry. What say you to that?
Well, all MPs have to maintain a level of confidence. That's why they run, and then especially when they're in a constituency, when they're a professional like Dr. Horton. But in terms of what has been done in the constituency, that would be, nobody in the constituency accept that. I think he can go on the basis of his personality. He's from the area, but that constituency has seen extensive work in terms of improvement of communities. You remember we had the zones of special operations in Mount Salem, which means every single road has been repaved, zinc fence removed, titles are being issued, the school has been improved and expanded to have an infant school, the police station renewed, and there's a renewal of the community. And if you go into section of Granville, retirement in Granville, we had a similar program, not yet at the stage where Mount Salem is, but the inner city basic services program went there and spent significantly on community facilities, the roadways, water supply, and all that. That has never been done in the constituency. But never been done in any constituency in that part of Montego Bay for years under Paint British administration. The people are recognizing that. So they will have their complaints, but in terms of the efforts and investment in the community, we are satisfied with what is there to maintain the Jamaica Labour Party support. Although Dr. Horton has come and he has stayed the course, he'll run and lost and staying the course to work with the community. But there's much work done, enough to ensure that the people in St. James generally and the people in West Central St. James understand that the party in government has invested significantly in St. James. The Jamaica Labour Party, way beyond any kind of, it's beyond debate. The both major investment and community investment. I mean, major mean like the airport has been expanded to the cost of.
But is that being recognized in the polling that you have been doing there in West Central St. James? Is Marlene Malahoo Fort in a good position to win? Is she leading in the polls there?
She's in a good position to win, I'm going to say.
I noticed.
We win the seat. We win the seat. I'm not going to discuss the polling data in public.
Yes. Because
those are private polls. They do that and to publish their polls, we don't publish our polls. We do detailed polls, we do surveys, and we're doing analysis on a daily basis. We use the polls to close gaps.
Yes.
If we see a weakness, we intervene to ensure that the weakness is settled and we can move on. And that's what we use internal polls for. So they're not appropriate for public discussion, and we don't intend to do that.
Have you now settled on a candidate for North Central St. Andrew?
Yes, we have settled a candidate, and it will be announced next Monday. But there, you will realize that there's nothing happening there that is contentious.
Yes.
The candidate is settling in very well, and we expect to announce our slate of candidates by next Monday.
And what about Northeast Manchester?
We have pretty much settled that as well, but again, we will proceed to do the time of what we may transition effectively before we make a public announcement, although that will be in the news from the ground, and people on the street will tell you who they have settled in the seat.
I gather it's Ambassador Audrey Marks, based on the ground. Is it?
That's what's come out of the consensus, and we'll make the formal announcement and say Monday when we meet again at the officer level.
Just like it is in North Central St. Andrew on the ground, it's Delano Severight. Is it?
Then we'll make a formal announcement and give you a formal statement even before Monday. All right, but we want to meet all the stakeholders and ensure they're all on board. From all the reports we're getting, people are on board, but we will ensure that we want to we are doing our things in a timely manner. We are not in any way, we're not going to be hurried by current activities. We're not anxious about that.
Some of your supporters are annoyed and worried that you seem to be on the back foot and the PNP is making all the running.
No, that's you get back from constituents because of the atmosphere in our politics. They want to have the candidates clear. But the election, one day in the life of a politician can be a very long time. And I think maybe the opposition is beginning to realize that one day can be a very long time. Things change dramatically. We are very confident, and we are proceeding at a pace that we want, and we are not changing it. There's pressure to change it sometimes by candidates who want more activity. We're in a mood now where we are tightening up our management structure in the constituencies. We are talking about motivating our workers properly, and that's why our meetings have been more work appreciation. So that there's any gap in terms of MP relationship with their workers, we spot them, we work with them, and we settle it. That the machine will be well oiled and ready to move when the party leader indicates so. And we have enough time to do it. We're not at this point unduly worried.
You have enough time.
As I said before, as I said at one point, you're not a candidate until you're not a candidate. You're a caretaker until about 5 days before nomination day, when I informed the director of election that this is the slate for the Jamaica Labour Party, and the general secretary signs accordingly. That's when you become a candidate. And we have had candidates coming in as late as that and still winning elections.
There are whispers that you may be changing another one of your Northern St. Andrew candidates or putative prospective.
We don't have anything. We don't have that on the agenda, no. But if we have to change, if something happens over the next few weeks going there, in any seat at all across Jamaica, we have individuals we can bring into the picture. I think right now we have a pretty deep pool of talent, but we have to take time to establish the correct candidates in every seat.
All right.
And we are not unduly worried at this point in time about that. So we monitor our activities on a weekly basis, daily basis. And we analyze on a daily basis as well and regularly. And as I said before, we do polling and surveys across seats, not for publication, but to help us to plug the gaps so that when we move, we move as a single unit. Indeed, we go on the track. The car will have four brand new tires, engine running smoothly, everything that is required to keep you on track for the period of time that you'll be out on the road and the campaign trail in perfect order and take you to the winning post without any problem.
Dr. Horace Chang is the General Secretary of the governing Jamaica Labour Party, giving us a bit of news. It's only a formality now. Ambassador Audrey Marks is going to Northeast Manchester, where she will be the JLP candidate. And Delano Severight is the man chosen for Samuda's seat, North Central St. Andrew.
The names are strong on the ground. We will give you a formal and official announcement by next week.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Chang. Time for the news.